el más alto de la familia? ¿Quién es más guapo? ¿Tu amigo o tú? ¿Quién es el más chico de tus hermanos? If you want to be able to compare in Spanish, then you need these essential chunks. I am Spring Spanish teacher María Fernanda, and here is your first chunk. Más o menos que. So instead of giving you a theoretical explanation, which we don't do this in here, let's just take a look at some examples right away. When you're comparing adjectives, for example, prettier, quicker, noisier, then watch out, because in Spanish you need to follow the noun gender rules. For example, este vestido está más bonito que aquel. So we're using bonito because we are referring to el vestido. What's the pattern here? Más, then we'll grow the adjective, then que. What about if we have a feminine word? Let's say, la vecina de la derecha es más ruidosa que la vecina de la izquierda. We're saying ruidosa, and that's because we're referring to la vecina. Now I am going to give you more examples, but this time using things. And with things, we do not need to remember the noun gender rules. This is way much easier. For example, en la Riviera Maya hay más monumentos que en la Riviera Nayarita. En Bélgica hay más cervezas que en México. So the pattern remains the same. What you have to remember about this lesson is that you are comparing things or adjectives and say más blank que. Now, how about less than? Amazingly, they follow the same pattern. So have a look to the following examples. La playa Mahahual está menos llena que la de Cancún. That's a female noun. We're talking about la playa. What about if we are talking about a masculine word? Let's say, este pantalón es menos caro que aquel. So we're using caro because we're talking about el pantalón. Other examples with less than using things, it's the same thing as I just explained. Let's see. Inglaterra tiene menos población que Estados Unidos. Or another example, siempre viajo con menos equipaje que mi hermana. Does that make sense yet? Listen, the easiest way to start using this correctly is by learning the chunks from the example sentences here. And of course, other sentences that you might hear. Students in our inner circle get flashcards with the chunks from this lesson and all our other hundreds of lessons that we have in the channel. So if you want to try that out, don't forget to click in the description that is below. What happens when you want to compare verbs? The only thing that changes is that you must put the verb before the same pattern that you just learned. For example, María come más que Sofía. So we're comparing who eats more. And for less, ese perro corre menos que aquel. So as you can see, the pattern is really easy. We have verb más que or verb menos que. Easy? In any case, here's a quick overview of how to compare things and verbs in Spanish. Adjectives and things, we say más, adjective or thing, and que, or menos, adjective and thing, and que. And for verbs, we put the verb first, verb más que, or verb menos que. Now, a quick warning here. How do we compare better than or worse than? ¿Qué pasa cuando quieres decir que algo es better than or worse than? I know what you're thinking. Ay, maestra María Fernanda, obviamente se dice más mejor o más bueno o más bien. I told you, and you're wrong. Well, just like in English, there is not such thing as more better or less worse, right? So here are the exceptions to this rule. When you want to say something is better, we use the word mejor. And if you want to say something is worse, then we say peor. Let's see the following examples. La comida mexicana es mejor que la comida alemana. La situación actual es peor que la situación del año pasado. Teacher, do we have other words that follow this rule? Buena pregunta. Sí. The other two words are oldest and youngest. And we say mayor y menor que. Mi hermana es mayor que yo. Or mi papá es menor que mi tío. Alright, let's move on to the next part of the lesson where I am going to teach you how to speak about equals. Igualdad. Again, let's start with some examples first so you will understand how it works right away. Karen es tan bonita como Ana. Remember, Karen and Ana are girls, therefore we stick to the adjective bonita. Whereas if I say un Audi es tan rápido como un BMW, then remember that un carro is considered a male word. That's why we're gonna change to rápido. What is the pattern? That's right, tan, adjective, como. But what if we want to compare equal verbs? Let's say, en Berlín llueve tanto como en Londres. Una pieza de pan no cuesta tanto como un kilo de tortillas. Yep, you got the pattern, right? So verb, tanto, como. Now finally, let's take a look at comparing equal nouns or things. This one, mis amigos, it's a bit tricky because you will have to match the noun gender and if they are singular or plural. So let's take a look to the following examples. María tiene los mismos gustos que Mariana. Juan tiene el mismo perro que su vecino. Este antro toca las mismas canciones que el antro de ayer. Tú tienes la misma nariz que tu mamá. That was easy? Okay, no worries, mis amigos. Time for a quick overview. So, if we have an adjective, then the pattern is tan, adjective, como. A verb, verb, tanto, como. And for noun and things, we say male and singular, el mismo blank que. Female and singular, la misma blank que. Male and plural, los mismos blank que. Female and plural, las mismas blank que. But please, por favor, don't learn this table by heart. Just memorize the chunks from the examples and you won't need this table at all. So now, mis amigos, ahora, ¿cuál es mejor? ¿El español de España o el de México? Let's compare Mexican and Spain slang next, so click on the image on screen to get to that comparison.